But before we get into approaches, there are some critical concepts that you need to understand for doing code review. Attacker controlled input data or ACID, also known as state. So attacker controlled input data or ACID is basically any untrusted user input that is flowing into your application. In your entire career of code reviews, you will mostly be chasing ACID. You will mostly be chasing where untrusted user input data is coming, which components it's touching, and where is it flowing into. And remember, ACID always burns. So whatever untrusted data touches, it burns, it taints. And that's the point of following the untrusted data, right? So to make sure that as you're following it, there is no insecure patterns or vulnerabilities introduced in any of the components or any of the functions. So to follow ACID, you basically start from the source. The source is essentially the entry points to your application, right? If it's, let's say, a full stack web app, it would be the endpoints. For example, you can see in the screenshot, there's an endpoint, which is a post endpoint, which is upload. So upload is an entry point where untrusted user input can flow into your application. And inside your application, in this particular case, it's flowing as a file, as a multi-part file, and then it is flowing into a service and its method called process XML file. So ACID is entering your application through an entry point, which is called the source. Then it is flowing into sinks. Sinks are essentially areas in your code base where this ACID which is flowing is processed in an insecure way. Here, in this case, it's entering your code base as a file and then it's processed as an XML file, where you can see that a XML file is being parsed directly without any sanitizations, without enabling any safety measures like disabling DTT, disabling external entities. So in this case, in this particular case, this is an XXE, XML external entity vulnerability here. So that is how ACID flows and that is how ACID burns your application. So we have to be careful about that. Now, sources and sinks. Anywhere that you are accepting user input is a source. Anywhere you are processing that user input is a sink. And this is not the same for each and every application. The concept is the same, but the methods, the patterns, they are not the same for each and every application or each and every language. For Python, here are some examples. For Java, here are some examples, and C and C++. So if you look it up, you'll get an extensive list. And most of the SaaS tooling or any tooling that you have in place, they already have a dictionary of these sources and sinks, so you don't have to worry about memorizing anything. These are some examples of sources and sinks, and that's essentially what ACID is, right? The main thing that you're going to be chasing when you're doing a code review.